Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on Newsx. Day 3 into the latest U.S. government shutdown, the political deadlock is showing no signs of easing as Republicans and Democrats remain locked in a tussle over healthcare funding. The government shutdown, the 15th since 1981, suspended scientific research, financial oversight, environmental cleanup efforts, and a wide range of other activities. U.S. President Trump has said he and his budget director would wield axe over Democratic agencies as shutdown blame game rages. On the other hand, House Democrats accuse Trump of violating the Hatch Act with government shutdown messages. The impasse has forced hundreds of thousands of federal workers off the job, while iconic national sites from the Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania to Pearl Harbor in Hawaii have been shuttered. At the heart of the dispute is a fight over whether subsidies under the Affordable Care Act should be extended. Democrats insist the support is vital to prevent insurance premiums from spiking, while Republicans argue that the spending bill must not include what they frame as handouts connected to immigration and health care. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the shutdown is costing roughly $400 million every single day. Around 750,000 federal workers are furloughed, while essential staff such as military personnel, border security, and air traffic controllers are working without pay. The big question then is, can the U.S. economy bear this shutdown hit? Joining us live is Peter Cardillo, Chief Market Economist at Spartan Capital Securities. Bharat Barai, Foreign Affairs Expert, is joining us live. Madhav Nalapat, Editorial Director of the Sunday Guardian, is with us on the broadcast. Ravi Karkara, Founder, Invest NYC Forum, also joins us live. Let me, in fact, make a start with you first, Peter, on what you believe is going to be the hit the U.S. economy will take due to this shutdown.
Well, the shutdown, obviously, we're going into the third day. And of course, right now, all negotiations seem to be stuck in the mud. And I think that'll probably happen for another couple of days before we begin to see some negotiation between the Democrats and the Republicans. Obviously, the Republicans have the upper hand at this time. And so, they're going to take as much time as needed, and the Democrats are going to play hardball as well. But I think maybe after several weeks, we'll probably get some sort of a compromise. And of course, if the shutdown lingers for a week or two, even 3 weeks, I don't think it's going to have much of a damage on the economy. But if it goes beyond that, obviously, it could. And if you look at some of the macro indicators that we recently received, they suggest that the economy is weakening. In fact, just a few moments ago, we saw the ISM come out at 50, which sits right on the contraction level, down from 51.7. So that's a pretty big drop. Now, we know that the manufacturing PMI is in contraction. Now, it looks as though the service sector is going into contraction. So these type of numbers, if they continue to come up, that is, whatever can come out, I think would be an incentive for the administration to make a deal as quickly as possible. And so for now, we linger. But it's just a matter of time before both parties come to some sort of an agreement. In fact, I want to point out something important. This morning in the Wall Street Journal, there was an article alluding to the fact that the Republicans might need to beef up their strategy and to get some sort of a compromise. Because when you deal with the healthcare sector, which is the sticking point here, obviously voters don't forget, and that could come at a great political risk.
Okay, let me in fact quickly ask you though, Peter, about how many days you believe this shutdown is going to last.
Well, normally, I think the last time we had a shutdown, it lasted a little over 30 days. I'm not sure if it's 33 or 35, but, I think this time around it's a little bit different. and this time around we see signs of the economy cracking. And again, earlier in the week we got a very negative report on the job markets. The ADP, which is a private forecaster, suggested that the economy lost 32,000 jobs, and there was a negative revision from the previous month. So things are a little bit different right now. And so I think, and then of course, you also have the uncertainties over tariffs. Um, we still have we still have to make some trade deals with some of our major trading partners.
Yes. Also, finally, Peter, before we let you go, is this something that the U.S. Should be concerned about? Earlier this was very uncommon, but it's becoming a bit of a common occurrence there.
Yeah, it is uncommon, but uncommon things happen.
But it's been happening. It's been happening repeatedly. I think the previous one was less than a decade.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that part of the
question. I said the previous one was less than a decade ago. It's becoming a bit more common than, say, it was previously. Should this be something concerning for the U.S.?
Well, yeah, it happens, and things happen. So I really don't know how to answer this question without saying that anything can happen at any time and anywhere in any country.
Okay. Peter Cardillo, thank you very much for joining us with your perspective on that story. Bharat Barai is also with us live on this big focus of ours. Bharat, what sort of hit is the U.S. economy likely to take as a result of this shutdown? Where do you see things headed in the next few days?
I think this is going to be a little more stretched affair. It may last for several days. It will affect the U.S. economy to a degree, but remember, most of the services which are termed essential, they continue. So people get their Social Security checks, they can go to the banks, they can draw the money, they can buy their groceries or anything else that they want. What services are affected to a degree are like park or recreational things which are government controlled. Many of the departments like Labor Department, they will be shut down, but military, Social Security, healthcare, they all will remain open. People will get their health services because all the health services providers are in private sector except maybe Veterans Administration. So most of the common people will not see any difference in their life that is going on. As far as the Indian Americans are concerned, because the Labor Department will be shut down, those who have sent their applications either for H-1B modification or labor certification, those things will get delayed. They will not get processed. But immigration itself, or immigration department, will remain open. So remember, this is a very small sector of the US government budget, which is about 30% of the total budget that is discretionary and will be affected. The state government budgets are not affected. The local municipalities, their budgets are not affected. Some of the projects like green projects funding or infrastructure funding, those things will be affected, will be delayed.
Okay. Let me in fact also quickly address some breaking news coming in this hour. The US government shutdown has now delayed the key monthly jobs report of the country. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, which publishes the previous month's employment report on the first Friday of each month, known as Jobs Friday, has now delayed the release of September's employment data, as the BLS, like other federal agencies, is temporarily closed due to the ongoing shutdown. So these, of course, are the big updates coming in this hour. The US Jobs Friday report has now been delayed due to this shutdown. And of course, let me quickly join Madhav Nalapath on this fresh input coming in. The fallout of the shutdown being felt far and wide. Now we're learning that the US latest jobs report has not come out.
Look, I'd like to point out that it's very convenient that it has not come out. Convenient for the President Trump, because I'm sure it will reflect very disappointing figures. And may I say, Uday, that overall the policies of Donald Trump are having a very heavy effect on the US economy. Now, take for example this H-1B visa. Let's say you enforce it. Well, I mean, Dr. Baral is an expert in this. In many red states, that is conservative states, states ruled by the Republicans, you will have health services majorly affected, education services, health services, other services, technical services are all going to be affected by this ridiculous fee for the visa. It makes no sense at all, quite frankly, from an economic standpoint. I don't know, I mean, from what standpoint it makes sense. So I'd like to say, quite honestly, Uday, that as far as we in India are concerned, we're as perplexed as anybody else about what is happening in the United States. All that we can say is that it's not happening in a good way for US citizens. You're seeing job losses, you're seeing layoffs, you're seeing very slow growth of the economy, and it's now tipping into a point of recession, definitely by the close of the year, by the look of it. And if we talk about shutdowns, the last shutdown lasted quite some time, and this time President Trump is determined that he will not surrender on the healthcare issue. And the Democrats are absolutely clear. They need that issue. If they surrender on that, what happens to their base? The three Democrats who voted with the Republican side, well, I can tell you, they're going to face primary challenges, and most likely they will be defeated by fellow Democrats who are more loyal to the party. So I would like to say, Uday, frankly, that for some time now, for some months now, President Trump's policies and even the international policies are having a very negative effect on US economic prospects and on the prospects of jobs for American citizens. Forget about foreign citizens. And again, I would like to stress, I mean, apart from President Trump, I don't know anybody who does not realize the big value that is brought into the United States by Indian technical talent, Indian talent in teaching, Indian talent in medicine. Huge amount of talent has been coming in, and the United States has been getting the benefit of it. The good news is other countries are now, taking advantage of that, and they're offering visas to Indians, and so they're requesting that Indians come to these countries for working, and they offer also a pathway to citizenship. I mean, the Germans, for example, have been very forthcoming on that. Other countries also have been forthcoming on that. They're all taking advantage of the opportunity that President Trump has provided them, without, of course, realizing that he had. So I want to put it this way, Uday. I don't know how long this is sustainable. I'm not just talking about the shutdown, which frankly was avoidable.
Yes.
The Affordable Care Act,
Yes.
the Democrats wanted.
Yes.
The lower economic.
Okay, we're getting some more breaking news, in fact, that we're tracking this hour. Gold prices in the United States have held steady today, poised for a 7th consecutive weekly rise as expectations of further US interest rate cuts and concerns over the economic impact of a prolonged government shutdown lend support. The prolonged US government shutdown, now in its third day, has delayed key economic data, complicating the Federal Reserve's decision-making on monetary policy. This comes as physical gold demand in India rose this week despite record high prices, while Chinese markets were closed for a holiday. So these, of course, are the big updates coming in. Gold prices today have held steady, but they are expected to gain even as economic data gets delayed. Ravi Karkara, how do you view these latest reports coming in from the US as a result of the shutdown?
I first of all fully agree with Bharatji and Professor Madhav. This is not a great news, and I think the administration, with various policies, and of course where we are right now, it's not at all a great news, because you see the data coming through, the numbers coming through. I think US has managed to push the recession for some time, really because of the AI boom, and I think we've been expecting this for some time. But now, with this particular political situation, I think we will see something totally, absolutely, investors shake down completely in the economy. So I think I don't know whether it's the last straw on the camel's back, but definitely not what everybody expected, but there is definitely that very clear piece from the Democrats on ensuring that the commitment on health are safeguarded. And I think for Republicans right now, there is this entire back and forth that is happening. There is a lot of pressure right now for President Trump to show to the world and to its own constituents that all these different policies over the last few months are yielding results. And as the numbers are coming through, of course, it'll create absolutely, I would say, a kind of an havoc. And I don't know, because we've been saying this. I've said this in multiple interviews that we will expect some kind of total chaos and a recession situation closer to December. And I think all the indicators and all the pointers are clearly pointing that direction. Even if you look at reducing the interest rate, I don't know how much will that help. There's already news coming in on the housing market. The housing market is also showing signs of weakness, and that's happening after 2008. And I was very much part of, and I'm sure my seniors here, Professor Madhav and Bharatji, we've seen that, and we have in a very, very similar 2026 December 2007 situation, and probably worse. So I think we will look at a lot of, I would say, internal, external investors' confidence totally going to the next side. So this is not
Okay.
great news at all.
Okay. More breaking updates, in fact, now coming in. The United States Senate will convene at 11:30 a.m. GMT, we're being told, and is scheduled to begin voting once again on the Democratic and Republican short-term spending bills at 1:30 p.m. GMT today, following a pause in votes yesterday for the observance of Yom Kippur. Remember, the Democratic and Republican short-term spending bills, which have failed to advance several times, are what led to the shutdown. Senate Majority Leader John Thune has said if the measures are blocked again, the Senate will adjourn until Monday, extending the government shutdown into a sixth day. So all eyes on the Senate, on the voting, which is all set to begin in a few hours. Bharat Bharai.
Well, the way it works is, most people in India would not realize how the bills are passed. In the House, a finance bill requires only simple majority, and it passed. But in Senate, it requires 60 out of 100 votes. So Republicans do have majority in the Senate, and 2 or 3 Democratic senators, they also voted for it. So it got 55 out of 100 votes, but that is not sufficient. Now there is something called nuclear option, which has been utilized occasionally in the past, where the Senate suspends this 60 vote requirement, and they did it for appointment of some of the judges. And I don't know if Republicans will use that tactic. So even if it comes in the Senate today or on Monday, unless the Democrats change their mind, and there are 5 additional Democratic senators who will vote to give it 60 votes, it's not likely to pass. So where will the pressure come from? I do not know. If there is some major breakdown in services, that may happen. But I don't know where. For example, air traffic controllers and the Transportation Security Administration officers, they will continue to work as essential services. And they will not get paid during the services, but at the end, when the shutdown closes, they will be paid. However, how many people can go 30 days, 45 days without having cash in their hands to buy their groceries or pay their mortgage? So those kinds of things may bring pressure. And last time it was the air traffic controllers who started calling in sick, and the air services were getting disturbed. That's when the shutdown ended. So let's see here.
Yes. More breaking updates, in fact, now coming in. US stock futures have moved higher today, showing strength even as the federal government shutdown has entered its third day. Markets show optimism surrounding a potential interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve. Markets are little changed after recording new highs in the previous session, driven by strength in the artificial intelligence trading drive market momentum across all major indexes, seemingly overpowering concerns over the government shutdown. Bharat Bharai also, of course, continues to be with us. Bharat, how have markets in the US been reacting to these developments? We are seeing some sort of strength, even as markets show some sort of optimism because of a potential interest rate cut. Perhaps that is buffering the blow to the markets because of the shutdown.
Okay, I can tell you right now that the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 360 points. and Standard & Poor up by 18 points, that is 0.28%. Because the market takes into account private industries, A, it's not affected, B, it's the optional or not so emergency services are affected. But as you pointed out, there is a weakening of the US economy, which was going on even before the shutdown. And this shutdown will further solidify weakening of the economy and the likelihood that it is October 28-29 meeting. And then in December, Federal Reserve will cut interest rates by about quarter points each, in addition to what they cut in September. So the market is really looking more at A, cut in the interest rates, which will act as a boost to the economy, and B, they suspect that whether it will be 15 days, 30 days, or 45 days, like all other previous shutdowns, things have come to an end, and it will come to an end without really affecting the private sector. So they are looking at more positive thing. Plus, as Trump has said, for example, Chicago was going to have $2.1 billion infrastructure projects. And some of the blue states or Democratic states, they are going to have green energy projects. And they said that those 8.2 billion green energy projects and 2.1 billion infrastructure projects in Chicago area, they will not be funded. So they think as an opportunity to cut the expenses during the shutdown.
Okay. Let me, in fact, also address some more breaking news coming in. White House Budget Director Russ Vought has announced the Trump administration will be withholding $2.1 billion allocated for Chicago's infrastructure projects, including a plan to extend the Red Line train. Vaught's announcement on the third day of the U.S. government shutdown comes on the heels of two other moves by the Trump administration targeting funding in cities and states led by Democrats, including a $18 billion freeze in New York infrastructure funds. So these, of course, are the big updates coming in. Further impact now being felt. Madhav Nalapat, Chicago funding frozen as well.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
How do you view this further impact being felt? Chicago funding frozen, infrastructure grants frozen as well.
Look, the fact of the matter is, I don't know what the Supreme Court of the United States is going to say about taking economic decisions solely on the basis of political factors. Trump has said multiple times, and he's putting it in practice, that democratic states, democratic priorities are going to be affected. And the question is that constitutional? Is that constitutional at all? The Constitution put 60 senators to ensure, in fact, a bipartisan situation. And how can you adopt policy that just on the basis that one city has voted Democratic rather than Republican? I don't know if that's constitutional as per the United States. I think there will be a challenge. And I think the good news is institutions in the United States are still relatively strong. And you have co-equal branches of government. The judiciary, the legislature, and the executive are co-equal. Donald Trump believes the executive should control certainly, control the legislature and basically, without any compromise, adopt whatever he wants. And that's what we were seeing on this healthcare plan. The point is better healthcare for Americans, for disadvantaged Americans, will improve their productivity and will therefore contribute significantly to raising output in the United States. Investment in human capital is not a waste. It's a major investment. And I'm sorry, but President Trump is wrong on that. And frankly, the kind of picture he's painting of himself is basically a man who's obsessed with cutting the taxes of millionaires and billionaires, and also obsessed with cutting the services of those who are less advantaged, Uday.
Okay. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this broadcast. Let's quickly turn our focus to breaking news coming in. Pakistan has backstabbed Donald Trump after Shehbaz Sharif's White House meeting. Pak Foreign Minister Shutdown has said the 20-point Gaza plan released by President Trump is not ours. Our draft was changed by the United States.
मैंने ये क्लियर कर दिया कि ये जो 20 पॉइंट जो ट्रंप साहब ने जो पब्लिक की हैं ये हमारे नहीं हैं, ये मनोवन हमारे नहीं हैं। मैंने कहा कि इसमें कुछ चेंजेस की गई हैं जो हमारा ड्राफ्ट था, मेरे पास सारा रिकॉर्ड मौजूद है। और भाई सुने ना, आप सुन तो लेना भाई जान, जो ट्वीट आ गई वो अभी ट्रांजिट पे थे, मैं पीर को आ गया था, वो आज सुबह पहुंचे हैं, उनकी और एंगेजमेंट थी। तो उन्होंने जब प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप ने ब्रॉडर ट्वीट की, उसके जवाब में उन्होंने वो ट्वीट कर दी। उनको कोई हैरान तो नहीं होना था उस वक्त? भाई सुन तो लो ना यार, जनाब स्पीकर, किसी को ऐलान तो नहीं होना था कि जी वो 20 पॉइंट वो नहीं है जो हमने 8 मुल्कों ने भेजे।
Ajay Jandiyal joins us for more on this story. Ajay, Pakistan, it seems, has already backstabbed the United States of America.
Yes, this is the first, we can say that U-turn by the Pakistani government, and this is going to happen again and again. That is what India has shown the world as well. This time, Shutdown, who is the minister of Shahbaz Sharif's cabinet, he, while speaking in the Pakistan National Assembly, says that these are not the points which basically we have shared on the Gaza. It was different, and this has been changed by the United States. So it means that they want to blame Trump that they have changed their points, what they have made for the Gaza, because they were in the dock in Pakistan National Assembly when opposition raised the question on the Gaza issue. So he was clarifying the same, but it is that Pakistani minister is clearly, he's basically giving this statement against America. That has to be seen, that how America has to react on the same.
All right. My thanks to you, Ajay, for joining us. Let's take a short break on that.